first thing everybody looks at is, oh, the guy that used to be the GM of the Sioux just picked a guy from the Sioux. But you took the best player that you thought was on the board, but was there any familiarity there with people that you know still from the organization?
Well, we took the player that our scouts had as the best player on our board. And they're the ones that do the work all year in the rink every single day from September through the end of May, basically, when they kick them out. So he was the player that our scouts had rated as the top guy. Of course, playing in the Sioux allows me some greater familiarity with people and greater insights into people, and we're fortunate in that regard. But we're happy that we got a guy that we wanted, regardless of where he played.
What did you like about him, Kyle?
For me personally, and having the chance to watch them, Chris, what I liked about him was I think he plays the position the way that we want it to be played. So he defends very, very well, and he had to defend some very difficult minutes, especially as they had injuries as the playoffs went along, but he did that the whole season. He moves the puck extremely well, and as it went on, the season especially, his level of competitiveness showed better and better, and just was an all-around defenseman that we were very, very happy with. So that was what we liked about Rasmus.
Why were you confident that he'd be there at 29, Kyle, after having the 25th pick?
It wasn't just him, Terry. We took into account our staff and the players that we had, and I consulted with them, with Tim and John and Ari and Lindsay, and said, here's what we can do. We can gain another asset. St. Louis wants to move up. Doug called back and said they would do the deal, and we were confident that one of the players that we wanted would be there. And it allowed us to have another pick tomorrow in the third round, which we wanted to do. So we were content with that.
Sort of Travis Dermott comparison. He's 5'11", 190, very calm under pressure in his own zone. Is that a reach at all, Kyle?
Well, if he ends up where Travis is at this point, I think we'd certainly be content if the comparison came true. But he's his own person and player. I think he's a season younger. I know Travis is a late birthday, so he was picked at the end of his 18-year-old season. Rasmus is a year younger, so I know that gets skewed with the late birthdays and not. But we feel he's got 2 years of runway left in junior. Travis only had one when we picked him, and so we're generally excited to get him and think certainly on offense and continue to get stronger, continue to improve his skating. He's going to be a very good player for us.
What impressed you in interviews that you had with him?
Yeah, I think he's the one thing that you always like in interviews. You like someone to be themselves. You like them to show their character a little bit. But he was very open and honest with what he needed to work on, Terry. So that always makes you content when you're drafting a player that they have an idea of what they're going to need to work on as they continue to develop. So that puts you a little bit more at ease. Than I knew about his character from the staff and the Sioux. They raved about him, nothing negative whatsoever. So that was positive.
Since he's on loan from Sweden and he can play in the SHL, he can play in junior, or he can play with the Marlies. What do you think right now? I know you just drafted him, but what do you think?
Yeah, that'll be a September decision, Mike. I mean, obviously there's a comfort with his junior team, and he's developed very well there for the year, and we'll see where he's at and decide that from then. But to me, it's something that we'll get into development camp next week, see how he does, and then continue to have him in the summer and then rookie tournament, and we'll roll from there.
Now, what does he need to work on?
I think the key things, all these guys we draft, Dave, they're young, so as you see him, he walks through the stage, he's still a skinny defenseman, and he's going to need to, I think we're excited that he can add to his frame, so he's 190 pounds, but we think he can continue to get stronger. I don't really look at it and say he's got to put an X amount of weight, but I think just his strength to continue to develop and work on his speed would be positive, and that's what we'll look to do with him for sure.
Second straight year taking a Swede on D. How would you compare him to Liljegren?
I think Liljegren came from pro hockey, and they really had very different seasons. I think Liljegren last year was rated very high to start the year, and then had mono and had his season disrupted. And Liljegren's just, I think, a little bit further ahead in terms of his progress because he's played pro. Rasmus actually played a few games of pro at the beginning of that season for the same team that Liljegren was with. So both are the same program in Rogla, and we're excited about both. But one's left hand, one's right hand. They're different, and we're excited about both.
Was his acclimation to North America fairly quick?
I thought so. I mean, in watching the Sioux play throughout, I thought he adapted quickly, and then the key thing was he adapted, then he got better and better, Paul. And especially in the playoffs he played. Well, you don't base it all on the most recent games that you watch, but he did did continue to improve, especially in the playoffs when he had to log huge minutes when they had some injuries. That was very, very impressive. So.
How would you compare him to the other Rasmuses?
Well, we're happy with the Rasmus we have, and that's the only one we control. So we'll take him and develop him and move on. So.